You've probably heard of the saying, follow your passions. Is that good advice or just bullshit to ignore? Well, that really depends on whether you have defined and applied the term correctly. Hi, I'm Angela from GrowthGarden. In this video, we're going to look at what real passion is and how to find it in 5 steps. Then, we look at how to use those passions to energize your life and succeed on your own terms. The insights in this video comes from years of first-hand experience in corporate and business. From reading hundreds of books and actively pursuing my passions in life. If these topics interest you and you want to live an authentic, fulfilling life, then hit the subscribe button to stay connected. So, what is passion and does it really matter? Just think about the last time that you felt so excited and energized by something that you can't wait to do it all over again. It can be an outdoor adventure, a creative task, or a social cause. Even if you were physically tired, there was this inner glow, like something inside you has just come alive. You keep going at it, not because of any external rewards, but simply because of the way it makes you feel. Simply put, passion is a strong emotion towards something. It means zeal and enthusiasm, and it basically lights you up so you feel driven to take action. And that is the feeling of passion that we are looking for. It's not just a passing interest, a generic liking for something, or just a hobby. That's a very important distinction because a real passion is specific, not generic. For example, you may enjoy music or even love music, but you will probably only be truly and deeply passionate about certain aspects of music, such as certain instruments, genres of music, or experimenting with the blend of musical instruments or styles. Here's a tip that I found really useful. In the Entrepreneur Roller Coaster, Darren Hardy explains that there are 4 ways to switch on your passions. You can love what you do, how you do it, why you do it, and who you do it for. These apply universally to all aspects of life. We'll return to this later in the video when we dive into some exercises to help you explore your passions. In short, passion is all about the heart. It's really personal and no one can tell you what you should be passionate about. We all have things that draw us and things that repel us. Usually, we can't explain it, but if you tune into yourself, you just know it and feel it. So here's the question. Should you follow your passions? My simple answer is yes, you should follow your passions, but no, you shouldn't only follow your passions. Let me explain. Passion is important because it energizes and satisfies you. When you're motivated to keep doing something repeatedly, you're more likely to learn, improve, and excel in it. And it's always nice to be doing something that you enjoy and fills you up. It's also easier to persevere in face of challenges and setbacks. By contrast, if you are doing something that drains you or frustrates you to death, you can still finish your task, but you're unlikely to ever create a masterpiece. Why? Because there's simply no heart and no soul in it. So, passion is an important source of fuel to drive you forward, but it is not enough because, first, you must know where you want to go or at least how to direct your passion. And sometimes, passion is nurtured. You may grow to love something only after you've been repeatedly exposed to it or practiced and done it enough to really know it and appreciate it. Second, you can't rely on passion alone because it will not generate enough momentum. That's why you should tap on at least 2 other sources of motivation, your enemy and your strengths. Let's talk about your enemy. We all have things that we want and things that we don't want. Bad feelings like anger or fear can actually be powerful motivators for change because you want to get away from a situation or to fight an enemy like poverty or injustice. Next, you have your strengths. These are your personal superpowers to help you to use your passions more effectively. It's like a turbo booster to propel you forward faster and better. We'll come back to this later in a list of exercises. So, how do you find your true passions? Can you guess what's the biggest reason that people struggle to find their passions? It's because we overthink it. Passion is a feeling of coming alive when you do something. It's already in you, so it's not something that you need to find. You just need to recognize it. The problem is, we think too much. We worry about money, about our reputation, and even if something is too weird or too trivial to be our passion. We spend too much time looking outward, chasing for answers, instead of tuning inward to discover what's already there. This is one of my favorite quotes of all time by Howard Thurman. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So, are you ready to find out what makes you come alive? Here are 5 steps to help you get started. You can follow them in sequence like a step-by-step guide, or just zoom in on the parts that call out to you. Ready? Grab a pen and paper and let's start. Step 1. Search inward. Look for clues by reflecting on your past, present, and future. Let's start with your childhood. Take 2 minutes to recall the things that you really used to enjoy as a kid and write them down. For now, let's imagine that you are Sandy. You used to love playing outdoors, following your grandma all around the garden, and you would spend hours studying the plants and animals with rapt attention. And you were always drawing and doodling whenever you could. Now, maybe you have stopped doing some of those things because your parents disapprove of them or because your friends laughed at you. Write them down anyway because they reflect your natural inclinations. Now, let's fast forward to the present. Again, take 2 minutes to list down all the things you did recently that were truly energizing and satisfying. If possible, jot down what, where, with whom, and how you were doing it. Again, let's pretend that you're Sandy for a moment. Your list of recent joys might look like this. You love going for long hikes, working out in various forms like yoga, running, or swimming. You love taking and editing photos, and you love planting herbs in your own garden. Now, let's look further ahead and imagine that you're much, much older. What would you like to look back on and feel really, really proud of? Perhaps it's important for you to have created beautiful things in your life, taught others something that's useful, and had quality time bonding with your loved ones. Step number 2, look outward. Ask your 5 closest friends what they think you are the most passionate about. Write those down. Perhaps your friends say that you're the most passionate about sports, cooking, and photography. Write those down. Now, put a star next to the recurring items and put a double star or a separate symbol if it was also mentioned by your close friends. Step number 3, look for patterns. By now, you should see certain patterns or trends emerging. Take a closer look at the star items in particular. Circle them out and write down the themes if any. Step number 4, look at 4 switches. Earlier, I mentioned that real passions are specific, not generic. And I also mentioned 4 things that switch your passions on. We'll now use them as lenses or filters to help you look deeper into the things that light you up. First, are you loving what you are doing in those activities? For example, you might love gardening so much because you really like doing things with your hands and having your hands touching the earth. Or you could love why you do it. The real driver behind the activity could be the purpose or the why behind it. For example, you might love photography because you can actually capture and eternalize moments that are beautiful and joyful and share that with other people. Or you might love something because of how you do it. Sometimes the processes can be as satisfying as the outcome. Typically, this involves creating your own processes or mastering something to achieve the highest possible standards. For example, you might have created your own unique 10-step photography technique to create superb results. Finally, you might actually love who you are doing the things for. That's usually because of the people you impact, such as your community or your loved ones. This is great as an additional checklist to filter or better understand yourself and your passions. Step number 5, look for the 4 signs. In our previous video, we explained the 4 signs to help you identify your strengths. You can think of them as your passions in action. S for success. Does the activity make you feel confident and successful? I for instinct. Do you instinctively want to do the activity without anyone asking you to? G is for growth. Do you tend to be the most focused, creative, and you learn the fastest when you are doing this activity? N is for need. You are so satisfied that you can't wait to do it all over again. Check if each of the activities you listed fulfill the 4 signs. These 4 signs are adapted from the book Go Put Your Strengths to Work. Feel free to check out the free book summary in the description below if you want to learn more about discovering your own strengths. Ultimately, discovering and nurturing your passions is a process, not a one-time exercise. There's no need to finish all 5 steps in a sitting, and you do not have to follow the sequence. It's more important to get into the habit of noticing how you feel in your daily activities and what really lights you up. The more you revisit these exercises, the more you deepen your understanding of yourself and your passions. Now, there are a couple of common concerns about finding one's passions. First, if you came up with several themes or passions, you might wonder, what's next? Do I have to narrow it down to a single overarching passion? From my experience, that's not necessary. It's common to have more than one passion, and you can combine them with your skills and strengths to create some amazing results. Another common concern is that you may not have found your real passion. That's why we shared the 4 signs earlier as checklists to help you. You can also consider this. Is the passion strong and deep enough that you're willing to keep doing something even when it gets really challenging? The best way to find out is to put it to the test. This is where 2 other ingredients come in. Check out this video where we explain how to combine passion, skills, and value creation to create your sweet spot. This is a place that you naturally thrive in, meaning you naturally get well rewarded for doing the things that you love and excel in. Sounds good? I'll see you in that video.